Joining me this morning is Mr. Michael Spence, a sociologist and a
Great.
businessman. How are you? Good afternoon, my friend. How you doing?
Yeah, good afternoon. How you doing? Yeah,
Doing
having
fine.
a
Great to have you this week.
wonderful program here.
Yes. And
Yes,
you're one
you
Jamaican who
know,
you're a thinker, and it is always great to hear from you, Michael. Now, last week we were going to talk about that the sexual predators, the register. And if you want to talk about that still, or you
yeah.
want to have another matter you want to talk about?
Well, the matter of the sexual registry,
Yes.
that concerns the control of criminal activity in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So a sexual predator is a criminal, okay? But Jamaica, that they having a sexual predator
Registry.
registry
Mm-hmm.
available and accessible to all the people in Jamaica by an advertised method, whether it be on the internet or there is some place you can go to see a sexual predator. And when a sexual predator comes into your vicinity, it's there, you know, and who it is, so to protect yourselves and all that kind of thing. Now, on the general matter of crime, when I tell people that most
But
Jamaicans
before
are
before
criminals,
before you move on, though, there are
they,
concerns by some persons who
yes,
say that if you know who the person is, you're going to have people attacking them. But then I say that is one thing, you believe that they'll be attacked, but then
yes,
are you thinking of those other children or those other persons who would also be raped? And if people knew who this person are, then will stay far from them and protect their children. So it seems to me, as usual, there's always concern for the perpetrators and not much concerns for the victims or the potential victims.
yes. I think that it should even be set in a way that you go for, let us say, a teaching job. Because I have seen a sexual predator get fired from one school, got a job at another school, sexual predator again, and managed to get a job at another school until he was arrested for something. And I'm saying that that's one of the things. You go for a job, they run your file on the sexual predator file, particularly schools and organizations where you're going to deal with young
Mm.
people and all that kind of thing.
But the question is,
So
why have
even
a registry if it's going
for
to be confident? Why? Why have a registry if it's confidential?
right, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make sense. And you continue to perpetrate Jamaica as a criminal's paradise.
Yes, yes.
So we need to sort these things out. And as a matter of fact, as I said before, most Jamaicans are criminals. Before
Oh,
I
Lord,
go
really?
there, I
Tell
am
me
going to
about that.
yes, a crime is
Mm-hmm.
any behavior that attracts a fine or imprisonment. So
Oh,
that
Lord.
person who you see throwing their garbage in the gully is a criminal. You see, because that activity attracts a fine or imprisonment. Well,
Yes.
when you go into the courts, they say, "Oh, you see somebody commit three, four murders." But when you go to the court, this man is an innocent man until he is found guilty. They are not going to say he's a criminal. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody else knows sociologically he's a criminal.
Yes.
You see. Now, to deal with crime in Jamaica, it has to be a mass movement. 13,000 policemen or 14,000 policemen cannot police from Negril Point
The moral
to Moran Point.
point. Yes.
Point. So what we need to have is a mass mobilization, mind mobilization,
Mm-hmm.
where the people now would become their own police. So you look into your house, Mass Vernon, and you look around and see criminal activity or criminals. You police it from in your own house. The
Yes.
individuals, stop stop throwing the plastic bottles by the roadside. You're policing yourself. There is not going to be a policeman to see all of these things. So
Mhm.
you have a movement going through all through schools and churches and everywhere, a mass self-policing mobilization program and to reduce crime in this country. There are a lot of people
So
committing crimes and
we'll
they say,
preach it
"What
from the
that man said,
pulpit.
what?"
We teach it in
Are
the
the wordings that
classrooms.
yeah, yes. Because what you find, there are criminals everywhere, from the
Yes.
pulpit to parliament. It is not just down on the roadside in the ghetto and up there. The criminals are uptown, midtown, and downtown. And
Mhm.
another thing, Vernon, is that the crime is not just illegal design. Crime has become a very lucrative and fast growing industry in this country. And when
Yes.
sometimes we talk about the fighting of crime, guess what we do end up doing? We are growing the crime industry. How does this happen? You have two sectors of the crime industry. You have the legitimate sector and you
Mhm.
have the illegitimate sector. The
Interesting. How do you
legitimate sector,
differentiate
let's
that?
go there.
Yes.
14, well, that I came up with that analysis for myself. You
Yes.
won't read it in any book or anything, or go to any university or college in the country and get this kind of analysis. So
Yes.
you have the legitimate sector of the industry. Let's go through them. 11 prisons, about 5,000 lawyers, 14,000 policemen, 6,000
Boy.
members of the JDF.
Yes.
Did I mention it? Did I mention 11 prisons, 40 or 50,000, 40 or 50,000 security guards?
Wow.
No, the World Bank, I read a report, said that the Jamaica spends 5% of its GDP on crime. No,
5% of its
if
GDP on
the
crime?
5% of its GDP, I read it, the World Bank says that. Okay?
My God.
Now, if that's the World Bank would be talking about the legitimate sector.
Yes.
Now, if the legitimate sector is playing catch up with the illegitimate sector, the illegitimate sector is at least 5 or 6%.
Hmm.
So combine the two and let us be conservative. The crime industry is 10% of Jamaica. It's the most lucrative, fast-growing, and attractive industry in this country.
So are you saying
The
when we hear this?
agricultural industry,
Yes.
yes,
So what yeah, are you saying when we say
the
crime doesn't
agricultural
pay,
sector,
that crime does pay? It costs the country, but apparently some
yes.
persons are benefiting from it.
So, so listen now. If the GDP of Jamaica is approximately two 29 billion,
Yes.
and the crime industry is 10% of GDP, we are at almost a
Two
three
at
billion
3
dollar
billion.
industry.
You know, but the roads that
Yes.
could fix, help
So
to get water to the people.
yes. So what when we have all these things,
Yes.
you think about the industry. How many thousand cars do you have here? How
Yes.
many thousand guns and ammunition do you have? How many? Now we have expanded the industry. We are now reaching where we are adding drones. We have helicopters, airplanes, more
Yes.
boats, and so on. These things have to be serviced. They need wheels, they need tires, they need fuel, they need parts. And now, so you could go into the business of selling maybe arms parts or whatever it is, or fuel for the you get a contract for this to supply fuel
Yeah.
to the legitimate sector
But Michael, what
of the
we only have
industry.
about
Yes,
2 minutes left. I would love to know,
yes,
just to get an example of even one court case, how much it costs the
yes,
country. You have the judge, the jurors, the
yes.
lawyers, air
Hmm.
conditioning unit, the staff. I'd love to know.
Yes.
And who pay for that? It
It
was SID?
costs, before we go, let me tell you, it costs Jamaica 10,000 US dollars per prisoner for a year. And that is conservative when you look at the world rates.
Yes.
So
Well, we
if
have
you
to leave you
notice
now,
that,
Master.
so,
Let's
yes,
make a final
yes,
point.
yes. If you notice, now if we need prison spaces now, we are running out of spaces. The, that facility down there in what that one down there near the seaside.
Near Raytown, yes.
Yeah, Raytown. The capacity for that one is about 850. They have about 1,650 in there. In
That is
Spanish
why,
Town, it's about
Michael,
the same.
I do not
Yes.
believe that persons who are not a danger to the society should be incarcerated. Put a banner on them foot so you can track them and put them go clean gully and clean up
Well,
place. Why are we locking them
well,
up and feeding
listen.
them out? You're punishing taxpayers?
So the next stage,
Yes.
have you put in your bid to construct a prison hotel?
That's some money I could
A
make
new
there.
prison hotel?
You mean Her Majesty's Hotel? Or His
Yes,
Majesty's Hotel?
because all
Huh? We have to run now.
is
Let's make a
so
final
one of
point.
them
We've gone over time, my brother.
yes,
We have to just 1 second to make a
yes.
final point.
But for Jamaica to handle crime or to curtail crime in this country, the people, the 2.9 or 3 million people of this country they have to participate in this.
I'd
And
have
we
to
have
get
to
up. Guess
find
what,
a way
Michael?
to
We have to leave
mobilize
now.
the masses
I'm going to
to
ask you
deal
to
with this.
join us
Yes.
again next week,
Yes.
where we have to continue with this topic. You're listening to Spot On with Vernon Derby.
Okay.